Welcome back to another episode of Journey Towards Freedom. I think we summed up the basics of our mind, how the brain works, how the manipulations are going, and that we are not free in this world. So, let's start a mini-series called Building an NPC that will cover how to build a perfect slave by the government. What measures and what actions to undertake in order to create one. But well, let's start with who is an NPC. What is an NPC? It's in the games, it's just a non-playable character. Just a character that is programmed to perform certain repetitive actions without thinking, just mindless person. In real world, we can compare this to every other person that just goes on and performs every action that is ordered to them without any doubts, just goes on and reacts by executing programs that were pre-programmed them by the rulers in their early age of life. They are created by the government, by the mind controllers, to behave in a certain way, certain predictable way, and the outcome of their actions is somehow expected. They can predict this and know what will happen if they do this, and that. We have many such people in our today's world. Just like the Matrix trilogy tried to tell us, the first Matrix movie, that people believe in the legitimacy of government, that they have the power to create law and we have to obey it no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's moral, immoral, if it benefits people or not, we have to follow it because they created it and we have to follow. We don't need people that have independent thinking. We love our NPCs. The more NPCs, the less people with independent thinking being able to think from themselves, the better for them. The less there will be rebellion against the world how we see it today. So all this aim of building an NPC is just building a mindless zombie that will follow any orders without basically giving a second thought about this. Where do we start? Well, the most important are the first 6-7 years of our life. That's when the most of the programs are added to our brain, and that's where we gather the most basic information, how the world operates, how to behave in this world. It's then harder to change them. It's harder to translate them and fix those programs. So don't you want create people that don't want to rebel, don't want to have own freedom, they want to be taken care of. They want people that will be obeying, they try to give away the responsibility to the government. They will care for me, they will have all the responsibility. Where do we start this? Building our NPC. Let's start from birth. Let's start from this very beginning, from the birth. I will share my opinion about this, about what labor looks like. Because obviously, I am not the man, I am not the woman. I won't be able to ever bear a child inside my womb. I don't have one. So I won't be able to give birth to a child. I can only gather this information from women that like to share it, either from speaking directly with them, seeing some vlogs on YouTube or other social media, some podcasts, or maybe some even on blogs, forums. That's what I gather information about this, about how women perceive and what their memories of how the labor went in the hospital, mostly. In my country, the mother has no choice to decide where she would like to give birth. If she would like to give it, in home, maybe in some kind of special facility, or in a hospital. By default, by law, it is ordered that you have to go into hospital and they take care of everything. You don't have to do anything except for just giving birth to a baby. That's all you have to do. It's forced, it's directed by law. If you wanna go into home labor, well, you need to get a consent. People from medical staff needs to give you their permission so you can give birth at home. Isn't this fucked up? If going to a hospital is so great, it's so awesome, why is it forced? I mean, it's like for what, 100, 150 years ago, the old children were born in homes mostly. And now we have hospitals, and these hospitals should be the improvement from this home birth. So why is it forced? If it's so great, it should be voluntary, and the women would be still willing to go there because there will be benefits to going better birth rates, better taking care of the mother, young mother. No, it's all to keep you and treat you like a herd, so you don't have any control over it. You don't decide how and when to give birth to a child, because you see, if you go to labor in home, in my country, you can be responsible if something was wrong. For example, the child will be born dead, then you can be prosecuted for this. But the doctors follow the medical procedures, they are written in the law, and if they follow those procedures, they won't be prosecuted. They will nothing happen to them and to the mothers. So it's much simpler. So you take the responsibility out of yourself. They just made all this law, so you will be fearful of ever trying to give birth in your own home, because you will be scared that you may, if something goes wrong, you not only lose a child, but you can also lose your so-called freedom. You can go to prison. Imagine how stupid you have to be to believe that this is great. So they scare you with this unassisted childbirth. They scare you to shit so that you don't even think about giving birth that way. So you go into hospital. Well, then you are under their control. They decide whenever you should give labor. Sometimes it's you. It's a woman that, feels it's time. The child is coming out. But sometimes it's no. But we have, your day is coming. You should be giving birth tomorrow. And they force it to start going into labor. That is, for me, strange. I mean, hasn't nature equipped us with some kind of mechanism to know how to give a birth to our own species? To feel when the labor is starting? Every other species, from the mammals, as I'm aware, is aware of the when and how to give the birth. They is usually not forced, but not humans. Humans need procedures, they need doctors and other people telling them how to do it, because we don't understand, because we don't know. Nature didn't equip us with this. Well, either we are some kind of fucked up species that for some weird reason survived without hospitals for many centuries, because, as I said, it has been for 150 years, the hospitals, the giving birth in hospitals? And what before that? Well, I guess we were all dying miserable death. And there are 8 billion people in this world, and I assure that most of them were born not in a hospital. We are here because the people were born somehow in a natural way, in a home way. But we cannot now decide. So, from experience of the women, it seems that giving birth in a hospital is a more traumatic experience for mother, and perhaps for a child too, because the position is not really suitable for mother, it's more suitable for a doctor. So they feel comfortable, not the mother. It is changing. Now you have some kind of the ball, maybe a bath tube that you can use. But it's not yet common in every hospital. And they stress you. Some doctors even humiliate you. They try to manipulate you into, scaring you that something is happening. They have to force. Come on, push. Because we don't have time. If you will going into labor take more time, there may be a problem with the child. And when you are giving labor, we agree to everything the doctor said, because you are not thinking clearly. You are under the stress of this whole process of creating new life right now. And they exploit this to the maximum. The stuff I have heard from these women sharing their experiences on some podcast is terrible. I cannot believe that we still treat it as a normal way of giving birth. Our little NPC is born. And now what? We have to clamp the umbilical cord. We have less than 30 seconds. Then is a quite early umbilical cord release code. If you clamp it after 30 seconds is being called late. That's weird for me. I mean, 30 seconds is not enough for blood to go back to the child, because when the child is going through mother, it loses about 1/3 of its own blood in order to easily move through a mother's body. Then this blood should be pumped back into the child. That's what the placenta is for. It's for child through the umbilical cord to give this blood back. But no, we decided we clamp this and we don't allow this third of the blood to be given back. They tell you can save it for later in case a child will need a transfusion in the future, because this blood is so awesome, so great that we can use it in case of some serious injuries in the future. Well, if it's so great, why don't give it to the child in the first place? So that child can have all the protection, all the awesome stuff that this blood has. Why not give it to the child? So the child is then has only 2/3 of its blood, which for any adult person will be quite not enough to work properly. So they have to supplement this blood in some way. So they start adding vitamin K to the newborn in order to increase the blood in this little more organism. Going back into cutting out this umbilical cord, that is done by father or by doctor. Well, come to think of it, there are some theories. Think for yourself, be open-minded about this, that it also can create trauma and break bond between the child and the father because of this little cut. From a child perspective, it can be seen as a breaking the bond between him, mother, that someone is destroying the connection, the physical connection that the child still has with its mother. And if father do it, well, that means that someone close to that child is doing this. Now, let's go into the most serious issue I found with this hospital treatment and medical procedures is cesarean section. It is a risky procedure. So it's basically a surgery that is performed when the child is really at risk of the mother will not be able to deliver the child. It's really invasive. It should not be performed on, a daily basis, right? It has very negative consequences. The mother has to be either put asleep or at least given some kind of painkillers that will reduce the pain from being cut open in order to take out the child. Usually, when the child goes through the mother, it receives all bacterial flora. And with the cesarean section, you won't receive this. The child will not receive this, will not be, let's say, covered in this bacterial flora, so it have the basic immunity. There were some studies in the America, I believe, that were trying to take some of this bacterial flora from the mother and put it some way on a child, but as far as I know, it's not really being put into practical use, at least not in my country. If you look into the statistics, what is the percentage of the cesarean section to natural birth? Make a guess. How much do you think it is? Well, in the recent years, last 2-3 years, when I gathered this information, can go into Polish government sites and grab those information. It's about 42 to 48%. So almost as every other child is given birth by a cesarean section. That is mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing. I was watching some Polish influencer in YouTube talking about Korea. She lives in Korea. That the rates in Korea are about 60 to 70% in favor of cesarean section. Why is that? Why is it happening on such a daily basis? It can have very negative consequences for mother, for child. Yeah, the mother will have to maybe put into coma if needed. Then she will not be seeing her child. Also, after the regular surgery, she will have to recover, so she will not be able to be with the child constantly, and that child is again breaking the bond with the mother. The child is feeling that it may have been already abandoned by mother, because child takes everything very selfishly. They take everything through their point of view, that if something is happening, is because of them, or maybe they did something, they are not worthy, they are not valuable as they are, they did something wrong. Just watch, I don't know, Bruce Lipton or Gabor Mate on these topics, how child see the world. And this is trauma, that the abandonment with the mother can create trauma, that child is not worthy of living just because they are. So they have to prove their worth. Well, isn't it exactly what the government wants? That we have to prove that we deserve to be living? I don't know why the rates are so big. Well, maybe the Hollywood movies made some propaganda encouraging this, that we go to the hospital, because they, from every Hollywood movie, when there were women going into labor, there was just a lot of screaming. It was so painful for them. It was an unbearable experience for them. So maybe it's just easier to take out the child and let's call it a day. 20-30 minutes and you're done. You're done. Because looking at the movies and the propaganda that is there in the Hollywood movies, see that this is a very painful experience to give birth to a child. I don't know, women maybe don't talk with their mothers, with their grandmothers. It is not passed down that it doesn't have to be such a way. I have watched some videos, some vlogs from people giving natural birth, lotus labor, and they were all excited about it. They found it was a very positive experience in contrast to giving birth in a hospital. We'll be continuing our mini-series of building NPC in the next episode. I'm Arek, and you can always watch me on tridentoffreedom.com. See you. Bye.